Welcome back to episode 11 of Slot Cars What Character. In today's episode, I'd like to feature uh, drag racing cars. They don't seem to get much love outside of the HO scale. Maybe one day they will. Hopefully, enough people are interested, and this can, you know, encourage more people to get involved, and maybe the companies will take notice and start creating 143rd, 132nd, maybe even 124th scale drag racing cars, some sort of tributes or something for drag racing. But for now, all we basically have is the HO scale. I know a lot of people like to scratch build, their 124th, 125th scale drag racing cars, and that's really popular. But I'm just, in my series, I'd like to keep it to what's pretty much widely available or has been widely available, and it's somewhat obtainable. And so this way, if you're interested, or if you know somebody who's interested, this is a way to find things and get involved in what you really like and love, and what really gets you going in slot car racing. So just to start here, this is the drag racing, the strip from Auto World, and this is readily available. If you look around, you'll find this somewhere, and this is the most easily obtainable system, and it works really well. There's some others that are either have been created, like Slot Valley Racing. Dan over there is creating an amazing 3-lane drag strip, and I can't wait to see that thing in action. That's going to be fantastic. And other people like Buckeye, HO Slot Car Drag Racing, he's got some incredible things going on over there. So I highly suggest checking those two out. And also, when I'm done here, I'm going to try to make this quick, get through these cars. But check out Scott's House of HO slot cars. He's got pretty much everything drag racing involved. I think he's a drag racer himself, and so he's really interested and involved in that. And he's got everything you've ever seen, everything that's ever been put out by Auto World and others. And I highly suggest checking him out as well. But just for the most part, just to get into, if you want to do some drag racing on the floor, as a quick setup, these are perfect little pieces. The only downside is that they're battery operated. Even though you do have to plug them in to the wall, you still need batteries to run the trees and the finished lights to work. And so that's just a pain. I don't keep the batteries in because I'm afraid I'm going to forget about them, and then a few months go by and then they wind up corroding. So if you're going to do that, make sure you take the batteries out unless you're using it all the time. Now for me, we just set this up on the floor, and it's easy for the grandkids because they just have to push the trigger when the light goes on, and then they could see which car won at the end there. When the light in their lane goes off, that means they won. And it's great, and you can set up nice little easy drag racing, a great way to introduce people into the hobby of slot cars, because nothing's easier than just pressing the trigger when you see the light and seeing your car shoot off and win some races. And so with that, let me just get into the cars themselves. I know the Aurora, they made Thunderjets, and I think they had a couple that were with drag racing inspired. And but then they started heavily getting into these drag cars when they made the AFX line. And this is a non-magnet traction chassis that they have on these. And also they have their specialty chassis, later known as 4-gear from Auto World. And so they have these Grand Ams and things. And these Rolls Royce, I think they call them rolling rolls, or roaring ghosts, or something like that. So these were very interesting. With they have their wheelie bars and their parachutes. So that was quite interesting from AFX. And then they went on afterwards and made their Screecher line of cars, and have a couple of these from the drag racing aspect of it. There's Tyco had also picked up on the drag racing aspect, and they made these and a few others. You see their parachutes, and they have wheelie bars back there. Although that yellow one is missing his windshield glass. I'll have to find some replacement glass for it. But thankfully, there are places to get these replacement parts for the most part. Then there's the Super Gremlin from Tyco and the Tyco Pro. And of course, there's the Catch Me and Gotcha. Fantastic cars. I showed these in another video, and their hoods raise up, and there's that you could do, and nice little interesting aspect to that. I'll leave that alone for now. Now Auto World has fabulously taken up the slack on the drag racing series. They've released a number of these, and from drivers from Robert Height and John Force and his daughters Courtney and Ashley, and very, very beautiful versions of these cars that they've done. Really recreated very, very high detail in many of these cars. And here's this Make-A-Wish from a tribute to the Tommy Johnson car. And I believe this is my favorite, maybe favorite slot car of all. I say that a lot, so just disregard that statement. But this one is beautiful. They did make two versions of these, I believe, and there was one with a white or lighter top part to that, roof and bonnet and stuff. But this one, I think, is just so beautiful. Those stars just sparkle. It's hard to pick up in a video, but when you see it, it's just sparkly, and it's a beautiful car. So I highly suggest that one. And of course, there's a tribute to Jiggs McDonald and the Ram Chargers, and what would life be like without the snake and the mongoose. I like to collect one of each driver, one car to tribute to each driver, so there's no confusion. So when we have a race, we could say, the snake and the mongoose, and I hate to have 4 different variations of it, and these are actually variations. They're the chrome, but I just like these for the grandkids, that they stand out a little bit more. So these are the ones I picked up to as a tribute for these 2 drivers. And of course, there's the Wonder Wagon. Now this one over here is another Don Prudhomme, another snake car. And like I just finished saying, I don't like to have more than one for every driver, but this case, I chose to go and get this one. I just like that one, the black version of the snake. And that's the only time I think I'm going to do that, because I like to just have the one driver for every car. And this episode is about drag cars, not drac cars. So I don't know what you're doing here, but this is actually Spooky Morkibus it's a Microsk car. And I guess he's got his rocket back there. So he's kind of a drag car. So yeah, you could take your Coughlin and race with us, Spooky. Oh, getting on to, now these are, I'm reserving this line for my very favorite drivers of all time. My favorite drag racer, Don Garlitz. He's got a museum of drag racing up in the Ocala area, and we passed that millions of times. Over the past 40 years, I keep saying, I want to stop in. I need to go into that museum before it closes down or something happens, and we never have. It's always, it's always on the road to somewhere, and we just decide to never stop. My wife has given me the options to stop many, many times, and I just say, oh, next time I will. Next time we will. And it's become a running joke in my family that we haven't stopped there in all these years, but one time I'm going to stop there and see the Don Garlitz Museum of Drag Racing, and that is going to be something. Maybe I'll record during my visit. Let's hope that happens in my lifetime. And also, there's the Shirley Cha-Cha Muldowney car. And these two were cars that I grew up with, drivers I grew up with when I was little, and it was fun watching them. I think on Wide World of Sports or wherever they were featured, and that was fun. These names were always called out. Now, of course, they did have Top Fuel, and I have no Top Fuel cars. And that would be something to check out Scott's House of HO Drag Racing, because I think he's got all the Top Fuel cars. And I just haven't got into them. At some point I will, but they make beautiful Top Fuel cars, does Auto World. And AFX, Aurora AFX actually made Top Fuel style cars too. I think they called them Furious Fueler and Aztec. There were 4 of them in the series. And that's something that I need to look into as well. I've been saying I'm going to collect those just as much as I've been saying the Don Garlis Museum. But regardless, these are names that in my youth were omnipresent. So I love having tributes to these. You'll notice there's a space here, and this is reserved for Connie Kalita. One day I'm going to pick up that Connie Kalita car. That's from Auto World. One of my favorite drivers of all time. And until then, he's got his space reserved right there. And then, of course, there's the Hawaiian. And Gene Snow's Rambunctious. Cars that just really were drivers around in my childhood that will always be with me. And this one, the Blue Max. Now, I thought this was Raymond Beadle, because when I was really watching these drag races, Raymond Beadle drove the Blue Max, but it was Harry Schmidt, I believe the originator of that. So that's a beautiful tribute car to him. And Auto World just made these 2 tribute cars. And also, these were just released in their latest Hot Wheels series. These 2 are the 4 gears. And Auto World has also made these drag cars in their, not just 4 gears, but also in their I'm sorry. Extraction series. Sorry, I just got distracted. In their Extraction series, they have these for Butch Leal and Wally Booth and Dick Landy. Nice tributes to them. And they've also done in Thunderjets, this AMX. I remember when I was, I had a pack of drag racing cars back in early 70s, 71, 72. And I used to love looking at these drag racing cars. They were in trading cards. I think they were made by Topps, if not Topps, another company, but I think they might have been Topps. But I remember seeing an AMX just like this lined up on the drag strip, and they took a nice photo of it, had its own card, and told all the details about it. And so I've loved this car for as long as I can remember, since early childhood. And then, of course, there's the school bus. I have just featured this on another episode of Slot Cars What Character. You'll notice that some of these cars will interact with others in different episodes, but that's okay because they need some love. And that's the Tom Daniel designed school bus. And there's Catwoman from Auto World series, the Batman series. And she's got her wheelie bars and parachutes, so hey, why not? So that's a look at drag racing slot cars that have been made over the years. And if you or someone you know loves drag racing, and maybe this is a way to get into slot car racing, hey, show them this video, show them these cars or other videos from the other creators I mentioned, and just have a good time with it. All right, and thanks for watching, and like and subscribe if you like this stuff. Hit the bell notification, because I'm planning a bunch more different things on different oddball cars in different areas. So that'll be coming up really soon. So thank you for watching, and have a good day.